Thanks for coming, for being here. Nice to meet you. I didn't actually meet you.
My name's Tana.
Tana, nice to meet you. Yeah, awesome. And Dawn, yes, good. All right, well, welcome. It's okay, welcome. So this is the Hatha flow class. It's going to be warm, I think. They have, in this space, they have issues in the summer with it being quite warm. So I think it just naturally is quite, so we'll probably feel the warmth today. Okay, so let's just start, let's start just little seated meditation before we begin. All right. So being able to feel your sits bones down on the floor and just allow your palms to face up or down. Take a big breath of air into your body. And then release it out through your mouth. Just breathe in and out through your nose. And come to pay attention, notice your heart, the frequency of your heart. And from your heart, imagine a leftward spiral moving down your central column through your spine. Leftward spiral that goes through the floor beneath you. And all the way to the center of the earth, Mother Earth's heart. And this spiral just wraps around her heart. And you come back to your heart. And from your heart, in a rightward spiral, moving up through your central column, through your spine, and through the crown of your head, up through the top of the dome, moving through the sky, into space. Rightward spiral to the center of the universe. And the spiral wraps around that center point. And back to your heart. So noticing the alchemy within your heart. And just as much as you are connected above, you're also connected below. And within the central sun, your heart shines brightly. Take a big breath in. Totally out through your mouth. And you can position yourself to reach your hands forward, entering a child's pose. So having your feet together at the back of your mat and just stretch your hands out in front of you. This is a physical practice, so just be sure that you check in, cue in to your internal environment. And establish a intention for your practice. Expansive breath, feeling your rib cage expand and contract. Just as you have anchored into your heart, as you feel your intention or unite with your intention for the practice, you make that intention also of listening to your own physical body, first and foremost. Remember that my words are a guide for the practice. And at any point, you can rest or modify, change to suit you. And then
On your inhale, arise into a tabletop, so your hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and then inhale to lift your gaze and drop your belly. As you exhale, you can drop your head. Now you can continue this motion where you just move your gaze up and down. And the other thing you can start to do, if it feels appropriate, is you can find sort of this circular motion, so rocking your hips back and lifting your chest, and rocking your hips in this like circular shape and way. And then you can move in the other direction. And you start the rhythm of your breath, and that becomes your guide. And then making your way into a downward facing dog, so just tucking your toes under, and just enjoy that down dog for a breath or two. And slowly walk your feet forward, slowly coming to the top of your mat. Bend your knees generously, and inhale, rise up. Reach your hands up towards the sky, look up. And then gather your hands to your heart as you exhale. Interlock the fingers and push your hands down to the floor. Inhale to lift your hands up. Fill your lungs, look up. Hands come through your heart center as you slowly press interlocked fingers down. And then filling up as you look up and slowly coming down back through. Center. Every single breath that you take, you're expanding the lungs just a little bit more and continuing to feel that baseline where you're connected as above, so below. So just really feeling that, the alchemy in your heart, that central point. Slowly breathing, grounding, expanding the lungs. Exhale to come down, and we'll just do one more big full breath. Reaching up. And then coming down. And then you can release your hands. Inhale to reach your arms up towards the sky. Clasp your fingers, release your index fingers, thumbs crossed. And I prefer to have my feet together, but if you like your feet hip distance, you can do that. Lift up and over to the left and up and over to the right. So a few times to go up and over, reaching long and just like a tick-tocking from side to side. And then come back up to center. Take your arms back behind the ears, reach up tall, and stretch your fingers up and over to the right. Now as you lift up and over to the right, continue to lift out of the waist. And feel that your hips move towards the left side of the room. Now as you continue to lift up and over, feel that your left foot is grounded in towards the mat. And keep your chin lifted. Your arms are lifting up and over, and your shoulders relax down. If you feel that you're really gripping around the ears with your shoulders, you can bend your elbows. You can also drop your right arm towards your side. So lift your chin, look forward. This class, we hold the postures a little bit longer. So just ensuring that you can breathe. That's really important. We want longevity over that push going too far. Taking your right shoulder a little bit forward and your right hip just a little bit back. And so you make these little corrections as you lift up and out of the waist. Now engage your legs, lift your kneecaps up towards your thighs. Push your hips further towards the left. As you come all the way down, keep your chin lifted. Lift up and over for 3, for 2, and 1. Come back up to center. Take your arms back behind the ears. Stretch up tall, lift up, and over now to the left. Lift up and out of the waist. And so as you lift up and out of the waist, continue to look forward. And the palms of your hands are glued together. Engage your legs. So it's your right foot that's really grounded down, really rooted down as you lift right up and over. There's a half moon shape forming on the whole right side of your body. And really just tuning into your foundation. So most of your weight is in the heels. Your toes remain soft. The palms of your hands glued together, you're lifting up and out of the waist. And then just take your left shoulder a little bit forward and your left hip a little bit back. So from the side, it's like you're pinned between glass, so navel pulls in towards your spine. And just make sure that you can breathe as your hips move towards the right side of the dome. See if you can extend through the whole right side. Take your arms back behind the ears. Now this is your edge. This is where you can go even further if you wish. So come all the way down. Hips go to the right for 3, for 2, and for 1. Come back up to center. Now take your hands behind your head, interlock your fingers, and press your elbows up to the sky. As you lift your elbows up, drop your head into your hands and just look up or back. And this is a slow progression into a backwards shape of your spine. So you want to take it slow here as your elbows lift, drop your head. And it's step by step, just tuning into the front line, being strong to hold you. And the back. All right, and then bend your knees deeply, folding forward. You're going to cup your heels from behind.
So grab a hold of your heels, take your elbows in closer together, and then pull on the heels, tip forward and drop your head. And every breath in, you lift your heel, or sort of like you're pulling up on the heels. And then as you fold, you're bringing your belly on thighs, chest on knees, and possibly forehead to your shins. Let your head hang heavy at the top of your spine, and just take another breath to pull on the heels and push back on your legs. And with your fingers in front of you, separate your feet hip distance apart. Bend your knees and lean back so that your hips lower down.
You're sitting in a chair with your arms reaching forward now. Wrists line up with your shoulders, lean back into the heels. Take your shoulders back and lift your chest. So nice straight spine as you sit down low. Now keeping the hips down low, lift your heels up off the floor. So you want to come really high into your tippy toes while still keeping low into your hips. Your wrists still line up with your shoulders, and ask your shoulders to just sort of pull back a little bit. Good, and see if you can sit down a little lower in your hips. Keep your hips down low, and then let your heels drop to the floor. Start to walk your knees in towards each other. So the knees now touch, toes point in. Lift your heels. If you can keep your heels on the floor, go for it. And you're slowly lowering your hips towards your heels for 10. So a very slow descent. For 8. Breathe shoulders back for 6. Breathe through your nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. So you're not resting on the heels. You're still engaged. Squeeze your knees together. Hover your hips. Keep your arms strong. And then separate your knees, and maybe one or both knees at a time. Put them on the floor. Right hand beside you. Left arm is going to sweep up and over. Look up towards the sky. On your exhale, transition, go to the other side. Left hand goes down, and right arm over. So lean your hips back to your heels. Tuck your toes under, and you can now just sort of go from side to side. You can also put your feet right on the floor. I do encourage that compression of the joints in your feet, keeping your toes tucked under, if that works for you. Side to side. And then what you can do, you can add on a little bit. So you can start to lift your hips up off your heels, if that works for you. Moving from side to side. But just really listen to your body, because that might not work. You might just nicely reach up and over. Really good. And then come back to center, and you're going to take your hands to your heart. Lifting one or both knees, you're going to come back onto your toes, balancing. Push into the balls of your feet. We're strengthening our feet, so important in yoga. Sitting up tall. And then we slowly come up with your knees at hip distance. You can do this for 8. Breathe for 6. Keep your heels lifted. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. All arms by your sides. Inhale, your arms reach up towards the sky. And as you exhale, dive forward, fold. Take an inhale. This is a halfway lift. Knees to shins, or hands to shins. And then left foot is gonna step back. And you can drop your back knee to the floor. Now if your back knee, so left foot back, if your back knee is really sensitive, you can keep it off the floor. But otherwise, you're gonna reach your arms up towards the sky. Now bend your elbows, cactus arms, start to lift your chest up and gaze up and back. Now a couple of things here, if you feel like, ooh, this is kind of funky, maybe just to engage your core, start to feel this engagement holding you here. If you're feeling really good, drop your right hand back to your foot and even lift your back foot up. But this is all just like, listen to your body, okay? So if the foot's really far, maybe just stay right here. Cactus arms. Breathe for 3. Good, for 2. And then 1, bring your fingertips in front of your right foot, lift your back knee, and float your left foot off the floor. Now bring your hands to your heart and bend your right knee. Okay? So this is like airplane, but your hands are together, and your back foot is lifted. Front knee is bent. Take a full breath in. And when you exhale, left foot's gonna step beside your right, and you're gonna keep your knees bent. Okay? Right foot's gonna go back. Your left knee is still bent. So you're keeping your foot lifted. Now, the point right now is to keep your front knee bent, and then you're gonna step it forward, and you're gonna go to the other side. And it's a transition from side to side, or slowly or as quickly as you'd like to go. But as you do this, keep your front balancing leg bent. You just transfer weight over from one side to the other. And if you're like, man, this is a lot, come upright and don't keep your leg so bent. You want to make this hard, you go super bent in the front leg. You keep your hips down as low as can be, but you don't round your spine. So if you're all hunched over, making sure that your chest is lifted and your hands moving in towards your heart assists in that, keeping the length of your spine. One more extension, and then step it forward, and inhale, reach up towards the sky. Exhale, dive forward and fold. Lengthen your spine, halfway lift, looking up, and the right foot now steps back. All right, drop your back right knee. Arms reach up towards the sky. Cactus arms as you lift your gaze up and back. Your choice, stay right here or drop the left hand. Reaching your right hand up. Even lifting your back foot and breathing. Otherwise, stay right in this expansive cactus arm pose. Soften your shoulders down. Feel more like your heart lifting as opposed to your shoulders. Stay for 3. Breathe for 2. And 1. Fingertips come in front of your foot and slowly lift your right leg up. Hands move in towards your heart. Just hold this pose right here. Strong. Keep your chest lifted and spine is straight. Take a full breath in. And your feet step side by side. Bend both of your knees and sit your hips down. Take your arms up towards the sky. Then circle your hands in towards each other so that the pinky fingers are closer together. Lean back, or not necessarily closer together, but they point towards each other. Yeah. Your hands can go wide if your shoulders are really creeping up around your ears. Sit down low into your hips. Soften your toes, lift all your 10 toes, and then just drop them back down. Separate your toes. Lean back into the heels. Stay here for 3. Breathe for 2. And on 1 inhale, reach up towards the sky. And then hold onto your left wrist now. You're going to lift up and over to the right. Holding onto your wrist to start. And you want to find your edge. So move all the way into the depth. And then take your right hand beside your right leg. So as you lift up and out of the waist, push onto the side of your knee, the side of your leg, and take your left shoulder back, look up. Stay for 3. Breathe for 2. And then on 1, inhale, rise up, both hands up to the sky. Step your right foot back, warrior 1. Arms come up towards the sky. All right, take an inhale to reach up. And now drop your right hand behind your leg. This is exalted warrior, so left arm is gonna reach up towards the sky. Take a full breath in, and on the exhale, windmill, the hands down to the floor. Right fingers connect under shoulder, lift your back heel, and twist left arm up. Looking up towards the sky. Take a full breath in, and on the exhale, just step the right foot forward, back into that chair pose. Arms come up to the sky. Good work. You can have your feet hip distance apart, same as your knees, or your big toes will touch, and so will your knees. Lean back into the heels. Take a full breath in. See if you can lean back, sit down a little lower. Push into the floor. Inhale, rise up. Hold on to your right wrist now. Lift up and over to the left. Find your edge with your legs straight. A lot of times your left knee wants to bend. Drop your left hand towards your side. Lift up and over. Take the right shoulder back. Gaze up. Under your armpit, under the shoulder. Good job. Stay here for 3. Breathe for 2. And 1. Reach up both arms. Exhale, dive forward. Fold. Take an inhale halfway. Lift and step your left foot back, warrior 1. Reach up. Exalted warrior, left hand to your leg, reach your right arm up and back behind you. Exalted warrior, you want to keep the front knee bent as you do this. Back leg straight. Take a full breath in. And on your exhale, windmill, the hands down, left hand below shoulder, twist as your back heel lifts up and off the floor. So lift through your shoulder more than your hand and see if you can bend into your right knee. Good, twist for 3. Nice job for 2. Now exhale, downward dog. Okay, on the inhale, come forward onto your belly, right to the ground. All right, so we're just gonna do some cobras, starting to activate the back body. Take the shoulder heads back, hands under shoulders, and just an inhale to push on the floor and lift, and then lower down. So we're gonna do about 5 of these. You can, every time you come up, you're following the rhythm of your breath. So the inhale is when you lift up and you push into the hands, and the exhale is when you lower. And each time you lift up, you come up just maybe a little bit higher. But it's so important that you keep the shoulders away from the ears, using the strength of your back body. If it's possible to do an upward facing dog, you can do that. Go for it. Your arms would straighten, your legs would lift. Otherwise, do a cobra and then slowly come back into downward dog. Take a full breath in. And on the exhale, step the right foot forward into crescent lunge. So both of your arms lift up to the sky. Now with your arms opened up to the side, swing your left arm underneath, cross twist, tie your arms together. Grab a hold of your hands, interlock the fingers. Sink your hips down and then take your left leg, swing up and over your right. Eagle. You can keep your left foot on the floor to help with your balance if you don't feel it's cooperating today. See if you can hug your elbows. And then just bring your knees a little to the left and your elbows slightly to the right. Pull your elbows down without punching forward. Take your shoulders back. Squeeze everything to the midline of your body. On the inhale, push into the right foot and stand up tall. Lift your left. Extend your arms open. Fly back to airplane. So left foot extends behind you. Bend your right knee. On the inhale, arms can reach forward. And slowly step back into warrior one. Arms reach up to the sky. So your back heel connects to the floor, reaching up. As you exhale, left hand to the ground, lift your back heel and twist. Now we go a little further. So as the right arm reaches up to the sky, slowly find the outer edge of your back foot and creep your right foot further back. So halfway back goes your right foot. And now you're in a supported side plank. Take your left hand a little forward in front of your shoulder if you feel like this is taxing your shoulder. Keep reaching up. Breathing for 3. Really good for 2. And on your exhale, a downward facing dog. Take a full breath. Left foot comes forward. On the exhale, inhale, arms reach up. Now your arms stretch out to the sides, and it's your right arm now underneath. Cross and twist, tie your arms together. Hug your elbows in towards your body. Leg over top. Everything into your midline. And this time bring your knees a little to the right, elbows slightly to the left. Keep a steady breath as you lean back, but not too far back, just keeping shoulders over hips. Find a focal point in front of you. And stay here for 3. Breathe for 2. Squeeze everything tight. And then push into the left foot. Rise up. Arms up towards the sky, right knee bent. And then fly it back for airplane. Arms reach behind you. Bend your left knee. Feel this control of that leg as your arms stretch forward for the inhale. And the exhale, warrior one, step back. Reach up. Press into your back heel. Take a full breath. Exhale, right hand below the shoulder. Lift the back heel and slowly twist. As you move to the outer edge of the back foot, the left foot comes halfway back. Reach up. Press away from the floor. Using your core body here. If you feel really unsteady, just make sure the outer edge of the back foot is pressing down, that you're using your legs. Stay here for 3. Breathe for 2. And exhale downward, facing dog. Take a full breath in, and on the exhale, walk your hands to your feet, bending at your knees. Inhale, rise up, reach to the sky. And exhale, hands come to your heart. Starting to put weight on the left foot, lift up your right knee. So your fingers can interlock on the front of your knee. I'm going to give you several options. So you can do this. You can also just have your palms facing forward. The other thing you can do is you can round over and hold on to your foot. And when you get a hold of your foot, if you're feeling like really strong, you can start to kick your foot out. But I'm going to hold you here for a little bit. So without the need to rush too quickly in a forward motion, see if you can just hang out. See if you can work on the foundation of that standing leg. Is it straight? Is it strong? And even if you're standing up tall, holding onto your knee, it's the same deal. Straight standing leg. Now if you're kicking out, now would be the time to drop your elbows and slowly bring your forehead to your knee. Holding strong. Only if your left leg feels stable. Stay for 3. Breathe for 2. And then slowly rise up, still standing tall, lifting your right knee, and then take your right foot forward and cross it over your back foot, the left foot, sorry. Inhale, your arms reach up. Now on your exhale, hinge forward, bending your front knee a lot, especially if you don't feel that your legs are super flexible right now. And then walk your fingers over to the right. The instep of the back foot will lift away from the ground. Ask your left hip to pull back. Pull back behind you. Left hip behind you. Towards the back edge of your mat. Yeah. And so that's the idea is like you have a string that's pulling towards the back of your mat on the left hip. And at the same time, you lift up the instep of your back foot. And you'll feel the stretch. You can look under your right armpit. Okay, so pressing into your right foot. And this is going to be the next balancing side. So push into your right foot, and on your inhale, rise up but lift your left foot. Now we grab a hold of the left foot with your left hand. So just hold the inside of your foot and reach your right arm up. Starting to kick your foot up and back. Nice and slow, just kick your foot back. And when you get to the point where you cannot kick any further, then you start to extend your right hand in front of you. Keep extending your right hand forward, not below the shoulder, at least above. And you can even take your right palm so it faces up. Feeling strong and steady, of course. For 3, for 2. And then slowly come back up. Still balancing on this right foot, take your left foot to the front of your right knee, figure 4. Hands come to your heart, slowly hinge forward. Now, you can stop along the way. You can put your hands on your shin, and you can stop. So even if you are super used to going deep, the sequence that we just did might limit that. So just be careful and listen to your body. Just taking a forward fold with the legs in a figure 4. And if you need to keep your hands on your shin, that's all good. Yeah, only staying here for maybe 2 more cycles of breath. Notice the level of your pelvis. Nice work. Okay, slowly rise back up. And when you're up, you take the left foot forward, big step. All right, warrior 1. Warrior 2. So in warrior 2, look at the instep of the left foot and just make sure you can see it as your left knee is bent and your arms reaching out in opposite directions. Sink your hips down low. Now look to the side long edge of your mat. Press your hips forward, open the palms, then take your left hand down to the inside of your leg and your right arm up. So if you're feeling like pretty gassed, like where your muscles and your body screaming at you pretty good, you can drop your elbow on your leg and just like hold yourself here. Otherwise, continue to work your foundation. So press your foot or your hand, the left hand, inside of your knee. And then slowly guide your right shoulder back and look up. Take your right hip a little back too. Then notice if you're breathing through the nose still, and it's a steady breath. Looking up, open your chest, bend your left knee, stay for 3, breathe for 2, and then 1. Inhale, reach up and out of this. Turn your toes to the right long edge of your mat. Take an inhale, the chest is open, and exhale, folding down. All right, so hands can reach around your ankles, your shins, your knees even, and you just drop your head. Tipping forward and preferably with a straight spine. So just ensuring that you have that length, that clear highway of any stagnant blood and energy to flow back, clearing space, rejuvenating physical body. Finish your exhale, and then inhale, fingertips below your shoulders, lift your chest, bend your left knee and sink your hips down, and then bend your right knee. Now you just move from side to side. So your fingers can stay on the ground or they can lift up, and I like to think of this like speed skating. So you're sort of like reaching your hands from one side to the other, side to the other. And you can shift your gaze to go there too. One of the things about this is keep your heels on the floor. And if you hardly move, it's all good. Just listen to your body, making space. One thing is for sure, you will walk out of here with more space in your body. All right, and then slowly walk your fingers to the right foot. Step your left foot beside your right foot. Lift your heels and sit your hips down on your heels. So yeah, you're still facing the sidelong edge of your mat. Now take your hands to your heart, lengthen your spine, and turn to the front of your mat. So like a twist, looking to the front of your mat, and then drop your fingers to the floor. So we really haven't done anything that is like preparation for an arm balance. So I wouldn't suggest it right now, but if you're like just craving it, then go for it. Do a side crow, but yeah, otherwise it's just a twist. So twist looking to the side. So what you're doing is you're twisting and then eventually getting your hands flat to the ground. So you're twisting. And it's all about, like, anytime you twist your spine, you just got to make sure it's straight. So we don't want to be curled over. It's just taking little tiny movements here. And then looking forward, back over your knees. So side long edge of your mat. Press your heels down, lift your hips, drop your head. Fold. Then turn your toes so they face forward. And we start all over again. So push into the feet and inhale, rise up to the sky. Hands come to your heart, Samasthiti. Putting weight on the right foot now. Lift up your left knee. All right, so staying here, hands can reach forward or you can hold on to your knee. Foundation over depth always. So we're establishing this like rock solid straight leg. And if you want to round over and grab a hold of your foot, that would be the next step. But not grabbing the foot when the right leg is bending. You are progressive, controlled in your movement. And if you want to kick out just because you did on the other side, then kick out. But you're going to be here for a little bit. So there's no rush. And if you're standing up holding your knee, see if you can make it less about how strongly you're holding the leg and more about how much you can hold the leg with the strength, stability around your joints. We're creating that stability. If you're kicking out, lengthening your spine. Pressing down through the right leg. And steady always. Then you can bring your elbows down if you are kicking out. And very slowly your forehead would touch your knee. As long as your standing leg is straight, you're breathing, feeling steady for 3, for 2, and always reversing, still standing up tall. You can do it, holding the knee, standing tall, breathing, and then cross this left leg over top of the right leg, taking your arms up. And as you exhale, coming down. So when your fingertips meet the floor, lengthen your spine and walk your fingers now over to the left. Naturally, your hips will try and turn with you. And you want to ask the right hip to pull back. And then as you do that, you find the outer edge of the right foot pressing down, and you're lifting the instep of your back foot. Now, if you take your front foot, your left foot in front of you a little more, you might feel a little bit more solid, especially if you feel kind of like off-centered. Drop your head.
Look underneath of your armpit even. This is all about stretching, releasing tension.
So making sure that the exhalations are free. The exhalations is where you do that release. The inhalations are for alignment, intentional alignment. Take just one more breath. All the way out. And you're going to come back to center. So fingers in front of your left foot and push into your left foot. Now you're going to rise up to stand, balancing on the left foot. Arms up, lift your right foot also. Right palm is going to hold the inside of your foot. And you're going to start to kick your foot up and back. Kick up and back behind you. And then slowly you can reach your left hand forward. So just as much as you kick up and back, you're reaching your left hand forward, and you can flip your left palm up, like you're holding a tray in front of you. Look forward.
Keep your wrist high as your shoulder. If you fall out, just right back in. Breathing. Steady for 3, for 2, and then 1. When you slowly rise up, take this right ankle in front of your left knee, and hands can come to your heart as you slowly hinge forward.
Slowly drop your head. This is to release. We ebb and flow, engage, release, engage, release. Just folding. Noticing the level of your pelvis here as well. And then slowly rising up. Take your hands to your heart and step your right foot forward. Big step. Warrior 1. Arms come up. All right, warrior 2. Taking the back foot maybe a little further back behind you, bending your right knee and sinking your hips down. Just ensuring that you still have weight on the left foot. Then look to the sidelong edge of your mat, open the palms, hips forward, and windmill the hands. So the right hand just comes down inside your knee as your left arm reaches up. As much as you stretch your hand down, also reach your left arm up. And maybe you look up. Longevity over depth, always. Take your left shoulder back. And breathe, making sure that if your body says so, you put your right elbow or forearm on the leg. And as you take possibly chin a little closer towards the left shoulder, you can find slow breath for 3, for 2, and 1. Reach up and out of this pose and turn your toes to the sidelong edge of your mat. Interlock your fingers behind your back. Now your arms can start to straighten. Toes point in. And if you want to go into a back bend, you start to lift your gaze up. And slowly hinge forward, dropping your head. Arms can lift up and over. Now if your arms are real and shoulders, say, this is like intense, glue the palms of your hands together with your elbows bent. And maybe that means that your hands don't actually lift off your back, but that will help your shoulders to open. And see if you can notice the outer edge of your feet press down. And without rounding your spine too much, every time you inhale, notice the length. And then exhale is that release, that dropping down of your head. Just take one more full breath in and all the way out. So that the inhale is what helps to lift you up. Good. And then step your right foot to meet your left foot. Gather your hands to your heart. No, you're standing at the back of your mat. Good job. Lengthen your spine, lift your heels, and then drop your hips down towards your heels. All right, turn, twisting now to the right. So we come into that gentle twist, and if you did so on the other side, crave it so badly, go for it, side crow. Otherwise, it's twist. And a side crow is a deep twist. So I always encourage people take it nice and slow, turning, and eventually getting your chest all the way facing the front of your mat and with your hands on the ground. That would be like the goal. Nice and slow, breathing. Good. And then coming back so that your chest is over top of the knees, then just pivot so that your knees and toes face the front of your mat. Good job. Press your heels down and fold forward. Walk your feet to the edges of your mat now and take your left hand around right ankle. Right fingers can creep forward, little twist as you look under your right armpit. And then on the exhale, change. Left fingers in front and right hand holds your ankle.
Okay, and then back to center, lengthen your spine and bend your knees, sink your hips down. So toes can point out a little bit. This is a squat, malasana, and your elbows can come inside of your knees as you sit up tall. Nice broad gaze forward as your pelvis sinks down. Take just one more breath. And then you can take your hands forward to plank, and this will be our only chaturanga of the day. So if you want to lower to your belly and do a little cobra, you can. Otherwise, lower yourself halfway to the ground, and then push away the mat as you lift your chest and find the tops of your feet. And slowly, everyone meets in a downward facing dog. Head drops heavy. Okay, take a full breath in. And on the exhale, walk your hands back to your feet. Push into the feet, inhale, and rise up. Gather your hands to your heart. And then down to your heart. Or sorry, yeah, I think I already said that. Okay, so ground into your right leg, pick up your left foot. Hold your foot and relax your left knee down to the floor, left hand to heart. If you can let go of that foot, nothing slips. Also, your right hand can meet at your heart. Solid tree. Steady breath and soft gaze. Just 2 more breaths here. And release your foot down. Just change over to the other side. Hold on to the foot. Relax the knee down. Right hand to prayer. Also left. So the endless theme, and I feel like this is really apparent in here because there's this spiraling energy. It might have to do with being in the geometric shape of this place, but there's a real intense spiral, like a vortex. And I feel like it's really necessary to also connect with rooting down. And when you can really connect with that tree energy, then it's like really expansive in here. You can really feel this opening. So just a couple of breaths to really feel that tree, inner tree. And then release your right foot to the ground. We'll inhale and reach your arms up. And as you exhale, hinge forward and fold. Then walk your hands forward up your mat. Plank and lower all the way to your belly. Coming down. All right, fingertips underneath of your shoulders. Start to press onto the tops of the feet and lift your chest into a cobra. Now, a couple of things you can do. You can slip your palms so they face up and hover them off of the ground. You can also keep your palms on the ground and just put a little bit of pressure on your hands. Continually feeling that the shoulders pull back towards your heels as you engage your back body. Take 2 more breaths. Legs are strong. Push onto the tops of your feet as you lift, lift, lift. And then lower down and take your left ear to the floor and just relax in Shavasana. Arms by your sides. Take a full breath in. Out through your mouth. Okay, and then now come up. So come up so that the palms face down, fingertips beside the hips, and lift your chest, lift your legs, okay? Fingertips are going to stay on the floor because you're gonna think about almost like you're holding like a suction cups on your fingertips, and then you're going to, with your knees bent, with your legs lifted, bend your knees. Keep your knees lifted off the floor and push your feet up towards the sky. Suction cup your fingertips to the mat.
or the floor. Lift up, lift, 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 and then down, right ear to the mat, Shavasana. And then exhale through your mouth.
Okay, now come up and take your hands forward in front of you. Okay, so you can look down and you're going to think opposite hand, opposite foot is going to lift, and then it's going to drop in the other side. Now, if you want less intensity, you keep that other hand and other foot on the ground, and you can sort of push on it a little bit to help lift the opposite. But if you want more, then you keep your leg and your arms lifted off the ground. That's your baseline point. And you lift up from there. So choose your, I want to say poison, but I don't want to refer to anything in my class as poison, so let's just say medicine. It might feel like poison though. All right. A few more. Everything up, and then your arms go back. Let's stay here for 3. Lift your legs for 2. And 1, come down. Left ear to the floor. Big breath in. And out. Okay, chin on the floor. Last one. We're going to hold the outside of your feet. Hold the outside of your ankles or your feet. And then start to kick your feet up and back. Kick up and back. And as you use the strength of your legs, let your arms straighten. You gotta think of your elbows softening as you do this. Kicking up and back, looking down or looking forward. Full expression. Kick up, kick back, and then come down. Right ear to the mat. 1 breath in, all the way out. Chin on the floor, hands under your shoulders. You can tuck your toes under from knees or toes, high plank, and a downward facing dog. Okay, take your right knee to right wrist. Sit your hips down, pigeon. So if this style of pigeon, if it doesn't work for you, like your knees don't like it, you can also go on your back, like so. Otherwise, just make sure that the right ankle is in close to your groin as you sit up. Sit up tall, and then coming down gently to your elbows. Rest your head. 2 choices you have here. So passive or active. And many stretches can also be quite active. And if you're feeling like you need this passive releasing stretch, might not feel passive in the body, but you're like sinking in. If you feel like you need that, just stay like as you are. But if you're feeling like you need a little bit more activity, strength involved, then tuck your back left knee under, or toes under, and lift your back knee. And then start to think about pulling the right hip back and engaging your right leg. So now both legs would be fully engaged. More of an active stretch. And breathe. Another full breath. Release it completely. And then press yourself up. Right. Now, so we did kind of do this at the beginning, and we'll do it one more time. So holding on to your back foot, if that's possible, with your opposite right hand. So with your, so you're turning opposite way. And so just to give some insight as to why I really enjoy the crossover is because you have to engage more stabilizers in order to hold you here. You can sort of sink into more of like a patterned way of
stretching when you just do the same side. So this is like an engagement, using your core a little, and then releasing that foot to the ground. Back into a downward facing dog, and we just change right over to the other side. So left knee comes forward. Sitting up tall. And then slowly to come down. Same extension, so if you went on your back on the other side, do that here. And then an active stretch. If you feel like you need to tuck your back toes under, if you did on the other side, tuck the right toes under and engage your left knee, left leg. Two more breaths. All right. And then coming upright as sit, both of your legs come forward, lie down on your back. A little mini Shavasana. All right, take your toes and heels together, arms up over your head, take a full breath in, and a double exhale, sit up. All right, bend your knees and come onto your knees. So the middle or back of your mat might be a little better. All right, take your arms up over your head, hands in prayer, just cross your thumbs, lean forward and slowly come down till your hands touch the floor. When your hands meet the floor, creep them a little more forward and lean your hips back to your heels. Let your nose possibly touch the mat. That's the idea, to keep your neck fairly neutral. And this is where you breathe slowly, like long, long, deep inhale and exhale. And the activity in this pose is that with your palms together, your pinky fingers touch the floor, but your elbows don't. So the elbows are lifted. And then you train your shoulders to not be so involved right here. So relaxing the shoulders back from your ears. Lengthening out your spine. Slowing down your breath. And additionally, you could take your knees together and even squeeze them together. On your next inhale, rise up, slowly coming up, just like you went down. Looking forward, and then lying on your back for Shavasana. Palms face up. Very briefly, toes and heels together, arms over your head, big breath in, double exhale. All right, bend your knees off to the side, into the middle of your mat. Come up on your knees. So camel. All right, so you can take your fingertips. I prefer to take the fingertips pointing up, but if your wrists and hands, elbows even, don't like that at all, then you can have your palms facing down. Take your shoulders down. Start to lift your gaze up. And if you're feeling pretty good there, lifting up tucking your toes under lessens the intensity. So if you're feeling pretty good there, your hands can move back towards your heels and you can drop your head. Nice arch. And slowly come back up. Now we're just going to find a child's pose.
Child's pose. You can let your elbows bend, just relax your head to the floor. And then coming up onto your knees.
So you are at the back of your mat and your knees are together. You're going to cup your heels. So hands underneath of your hips. Your thumbs are on the outside of the heels. You can watch this if you've never done it. Just make sure you watch it first before you do it. Just not turning your head from side to side is key, so you can lengthen your spine. Tuck your chin in and slowly start to curl forward. So rounding your spine forward is the whole point. And you can stop along the way. If you can come right down till your forehead comes close, touching your knees, then you hold your heels from the outside, and that's where you start to lift your hips up. The top of your head can come on the floor, but just making sure it's not pushing hard down towards the mat. And then committing to this forward rounding of the spine. 2 more cycles of breath. And then slowly you come out like you went in. So drop your hips first to heels, uncurl the spine all the way to come up, look forward, and then lie on your back, Shavasana. Palms face up. Take your toes and heels together, arms over your head, big breath in. Breathe out. Okay, left leg stays out, right foot comes into your inner thigh. And then turn to your toes, interlock your fingers, round over your foot, drop your head. If holding your foot doesn't happen, you can always take your hands under your knee or your shin. And then coming back up, take your right knee in towards your chest. So pull your knee in, and then just lift your foot up and over. Now your other leg can also come so that the heel's outside the hip, but if you feel like the right hip is now really lifted, keep your left leg straight. Take your right hand behind you, left arm up, and turn to the right twist. So right hand behind you to set your spine tall. Elbow presses into your knee and twist, 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 and then counter twist. Go over your left shoulder and just change your legs. So right leg out, left leg in. Interlock your fingers, look to your toes, and round over top. And just a couple of breaths here. Bending up your right knee as much as you need to have your forehead touch your knee. And then coming back up, left knee pulls in towards your chest. And then just lift this foot up and over. Know that you can keep your bottom leg straight. You want to bend your bottom knee. Your left hip is still on the floor. Left hand behind you, right arm up. And twist to the left. Lengthen your spine and twist. Take an inhale, full length. And then twist, twist, twist. Counter twist. Go over to the right. All right, and then come onto your knees. If you'd rather sit cross-legged, that's totally fine. We're just going to finish with some stronger breath just to get it all out before our Shavasana, okay? So the inhales just happen and you're going to fill up the belly, and then it's a Kalabati breath, or like a fire breath. So you push the air out by snapping your belly in. It's kind of like fast. We're gonna do it in and out through the mouth. So in through the nose and out through the mouth today. All right. So let's begin. Full breath in. Full release all the way out. Half breath in to start. Your hands can meet in front of your forehead. We'll just close here before Shavasana. So honoring the light within yourselves. And all namaste. So you can find yourself in Shavasana now, just resting on your back.